All right, guys, so this is the last conceptual video I'm just going to show you to help you. Again, I'm not trying to spoon feed you the information. I'm trying to just give you some basic ideas. All right, so you can see that I have the footers, the clamps as footers. They're acting as footers for a drum. In this video, it's not going to sound as bassy. It just doesn't. In real life, this has a bassier tone. It doesn't come through and project through the computer or your speaker unless you have a higher quality speaker, I guess, as well as a mic setup recording it, as you guys probably know. This isn't like high-end videos I'm doing here. Anyway, so if you're keeping the center of the drum, so the concept behind this idea is if you want to play along to any song or any track you want for like a bucket drumming karaoke style, basically have the middle of the drum act as the bass drum. Have the rim of the drum act as a snare drum. I mean, if you really want to get like really advanced, you can kind of also add the middle section of the drum. There is some different tones, the dynamic tones that do exist between the middle. Anyway, what I find is when I flip the stick over to the butt end of the stick, and use the butt end side, you get a thuddier sound, and you can play kind of just any beat you want. Like if you want to play along the We Will Rock You with your kids. You can play along to that. You can play along to any track, any song you want. You just basically make the bass drum the one middle sound, and you make the snare drum the rim. So just have kind of fun with it. If you're doing it on one bucket, it could sound something like this. Just any song you want to make up, any song you want to do. You can also do it. I've also learned that you can have two separate buckets. You can use the thinner head. Has a different tone. There is different tone to it. So you could designate, if you don't like the idea of playing the rim, and especially on these, when I've noticed when you play on the rim, they're going to shatter and they're going to break and they're going to crack. So that's why what I started doing was I started sawing these off and using these footers and using this other head. It's only like $1.97. You order from Lowe's, you can order it. But basically, instead of buying a whole new bucket, it's cheaper. And this rim holds up way better. I like this, but I still use the regular buckets as well. You can have different tone too with them. If you want to get more advanced, when I saw and studied, you can have the bucket hit the ground and lift. I haven't really done a lot with that because my kids aren't as advanced, but there are ways you can actually do different things, manipulate the bucket. But what I'm trying to say is you can use two buckets assigned. One is like the bass drum bucket, one is the snare drum bucket, So you can come up with beats that way. Different exercises with it. So however you want to do it, you can even do like rim shots, So there are different techniques. If you want to get crazy advanced with it, you can learn the freehand technique. I noticed on these buckets, the freehand technique's a technique that people would utilize with brushes, and then Johnny Rabb made it famous, brought it into the world. But basically, it's a form of a one-handed roll. There's multiple forms of one-handed rolls. Because the rim's so high, it naturally acts as a double fulcrum point. So it's really cool. You can do a lot of different exercises with it. You can play different rhythm things like, so you could incorporate, if your kids are more advanced, you can incorporate that. You can do exercises with the left hand too. You can do flam exercises. So show you is you have the ability to do a lot of cool drum techniques on a bucket. You know, you can do left-hand traditional and stick flip if you're into that. If that's something you're into, if that's too advanced and you want to just kind of stick with the regular idea of playing a beat, again, I'm not saying you can't. I'm not trying to recreate a drum line with buckets. I'm trying to make bucket drumming its own thing, and what I'm coming from a background of knowing percussion, knowing drum set, knowing marching. I'm not an expert in any of those. I wouldn't say that I'm an expert in any of them. But what I can say as being a percussion player and a percussionist is that the bucket has a lot of diversity, and you can utilize a lot of different cool sounds with it and do a lot of different cool things with it if you're willing to be creative and you understand, yeah, it's a bucket, but you could also make it a musical instrument. So anyway, what I'm saying is there's a lot of cool stuff. Heck, you can even use your hands. And if you want to get even funnier, you can use like different jazz techniques where you're putting pressure on the head to change the tone. So that's about it. It's more of a conceptual video to show you that you can do a lot of stuff with a bucket. Like, don't think, oh man, what am I going to do? It's just a freaking bucket. But it's a bucket, and you know, you got to acknowledge it's a bucket, but you can still pull a level of tone from it. You can still have some fun with it. More importantly, you can teach music utilizing this, and when the kids transfer over to snare drums or whatever, they can actually get good. So you have the ability to really take them somewhere else with it, and more importantly, make music. So it's what we try to do, and we're trying to help them learn, and you can have a lot of fun with it. But experiment. If you guys come up with anything really cool and a variation, please tell me, because I'm still trying to do different things with the buckets, and I don't know. I never studied. It's not like I went to school for bucket drumming. I don't think any of us did. So, peace.